And just like that, they buy it. They eat it up. You pander to them. You thank them. I mean, really, people, I thought you were a little bit smarter than that. I mean, it's just so easy to say the name of the city. You cheer.
Hey, Stephanie,
you cheer. I mean, just come on.
Welcome to the A Show.
What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to the A Show with the Kings of Pro Wrestling Podcast. I am Justin, here with Meelz, and boy, oh boy, did I just get done revamping my whole Animal Crossing island today.
Word?
It's a great day. It's a great day, brother. Lots of stuff. Shout out to John for helping me get this money.
John is an MVP, just in general, just as a guy in general. From helping me with my games to helping me with your games, he's just an MVP in general. Shout out to John.
Just a great pal. You know what I'm saying? Like I just dig him. He's always supported RNC. He supported everything that we've ever done. You know, just from shows to contests and things like that. And you know, just at the top of the show, wanna send out my appreciation to him letting me sell my turnips on his island today.
This is what really this must have been big. I don't have Animal Crossing, so this must have been huge. If we were dedicating first 60 seconds of the show.
Well, when you get here's the thing, Animal Crossing. Well, listen, not much happened, okay, this week. Let's just be clear.
All right. Well,
but
sure.
I mean, at the beginning of every week of Animal Crossing on Sunday, you buy these turnips for a price that you hope is not too high. And I think my approach is that, if it's at least 200 to 250 bells above what I paid, I'm just going to go ahead and resell them because the price changes every day. So, in the Animal Crossing channel on the Discord that we're on, thank you, Meelz, we have a channel for that. And John said, hey, I'm selling them for this much. And, he left his island open. At the time when he opened it, I was beating Final Fantasy VII Remake. So after I beat that, I hopped right on the Animal Crossing. And, it's just my ecosystem. My girlfriend hates me. Let's just be clear.
Animal Crossing might be better than real life, to be honest with you. Because currently real life, I mean, I am disheveled in terms of how I look. I don't have a hair. I don't want to say that I look too crazy. I think the last haircut I got was 4 weeks ago. So maybe I'm all right for now. But even though I desperately need a haircut, but I'm walking around and seeing people with haircuts, and I'm very angry. I'm super angry. First of all, not obeying social distancing, that's one thing. But also, where'd you get your haircut, and why can't I get a haircut right now? I'm very mad about that.
Josh Pease said he got a haircut last week, and now Ty, our good friend Ty, said he's getting one on Friday. But he's in Georgia, and they're opening up everything there.
Well, yes. I mean, Georgia, it might be the first state to go.
Yeah, that and Florida.
Florida, yes. Florida, they're hanging on by a string, but yeah, Georgia might be.
We're going to talk a lot about Florida today on the A Show.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, that is where the basis of operations for all things at this point. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. I need a haircut. I need one. I don't even need it for obviously we're not going anywhere, but I need it for my own personal self-esteem. I need to feel better. And I don't feel as good as I could feel without a haircut. And if you're a woman listening to this podcast, just know that this is where a lot of our strength lies in the fact that we have fresh lineups, fresh tape-ups, tapers,
fresh retwist. I even said a week ago that I would trade this Trump check for a retwist and an edge up right now. I need it.
Well, all right. So how do you think? Would you completely disregard the entire social distancing to get your hair twisted? Would you be would this be what would have to be kind of everything that goes on to make sure that you feel safe in going to get your hair retwisted?
Well, to be clear, my hairdresser, she's a great woman. She's awesome. She's one of my closest, people out here. She actually can't do it anyway because she's just recovering from breast cancer. So She's completely out anyway. She literally just recovered a couple months ago, so she's not taking any chances, and I completely understand that. But when you get like a retwist, there is very little. Not that this isn't an option for me. I'm just saying that there's very little interaction with people face to face. You know, it's
Right.
literally you're washing my hair. I'm at least 3 to 4 feet away. You know, but of course she has to bend down on a sink. So if there was a mask there's gloves already there. She already wears those. If I was to wear a mask, if I was to wear a glove, I think we'd be straight because she doesn't have to exactly go right into your face. Like cuts and barbers, that's a little more personal, right?
No, it's a little bit more intimate. Yeah.
But you can't have one without the other. In my case, like you can get the cut and the edge up. I have to get a retwist and a cut.
So the thing about the cut is, and yes, this is the first 5 minutes of today's show. The thing about the cut is it's extremely important to be the first one. After that, it don't even matter who else after you. It's extremely important to be the first one of getting cut in this kind of situation because you don't even have to risk as like, yo, am I gonna catch COVID from Clippers? Like, is this gonna happen to me? Like, it's extremely important to be the first one. I'm not advocating people go out there and risk their lives for a haircut, but you know, if someone is doing this on the side, you know, just take all precautions that you need. Make sure all the clippers are clean. Make sure everything is clean. Make sure you're the first person. If you're the fifth person, just forget about it. Don't even worry about getting there. Yeah, just go home. But yeah, I mean, that's it. That's really it.
Yeah. Just to let you guys know, yes, we are dying slowly.
100%.
It is terrible. But let's get to the pro wrestling talk for this week. Hey, the battle lines are further drawn, Meelz. They are further drawn after last week, after Black Wednesday of last week. We had 2 episodes of the A Show last week, one for our regular one and one emergency episode to talk about the releases that happened in the WWE after their contingency plan to protect themselves, so to speak, after COVID. There are so many people upset. The XFL is done, and now they're being sued.
We didn't even talk about that last week, really, but like XFL is like dead. Like,
yeah, super dead.
Selling super, like not coming back. Like, might have been would you say which one was the worst run, the first one or this one?
The first one. The second one looked like it was actually going to happen, right? Like, if it had continued and this stuff hadn't have gone on, I think they would have gotten a second and third season at least. I mean, Vince had already bookmarked like $500 million for more than 1 year, and it seemed to be doing successful. So I have to say the first one. This one looked like it was actually gonna pop off this time.
Yeah, it looked like it was gonna pop off. Unfortunately, I mean, damn, Mother Nature or the world does not give a shit about the XFL, man. Or any other sport except professional wrestling, if we have to say ourselves. But yeah, in terms of everyone who was kind of released last week, I mean, a lot of people are making moves. You know, you talked about it last week. We said it at the end of the emergency episodes. Wrestlers are like the biggest hustlers ever. So a lot of people are making moves. We learned a lot more things. Like some people were furloughed instead of actually released. We learned a few more NXT releases. Like shout out to Cassius Ohno, who is now returning to Chris Hero form.
Yeah.
He has been released. Who else did we find out?
I'm actually shocked that he didn't. I'm shocked that he wasn't already like a coach or something. Like I haven't seen him, you know, other than NXT UK. I haven't seen him for months on anything.
Yeah. You know what? They probably like, in terms of the whole Cassius Ohno thing, he probably does cost a little bit more because this isn't his first run, nor is he like some ex-football player or some person who just didn't get an actual real job.
Yeah.
And then also he can make bank on the indies. I think he's someone who, you know, once things start popping off and rolling again, he will be fine. He will be back to, you know, wherever he's going to be. He has plenty of friends on the independent scene. I'm sure that he's going to begin. Actually, I'm not sure, but I would like him to begin, you know, the transition process. Maybe he goes from more of the front scene guy to the back scene guy, like something along those lines. But you know what? I mean, Cassius Ohno, Chris Hero, had a good run. I think he made Matt Riddle look like $1 million.
Absolutely. definitely instrumental in making Matt Riddle a big deal, and a lot of people on NXT a big deal when they first come in. He was kind of the measuring stick for the new acts, and that's something that NXT has lost a lot of. There being the measuring stick acts, so to speak, that kind of shepherd these new people in. I think more so on the men's side than the women's side, they kind of jump in and get in where they fit in. In fact, I actually really like the NXT women's scene right now. I think it's actually really fun and exciting. But one thing about NXT with the releases, a lot of the people released were people from other countries, from their China expansion and India and stuff like that. And I have to say, like, I really do feel for those people because they can't even get home right now. And I think that's something that is definitely, like, you're starting to see the levity and the gravity of just how crappy everything was last week. And but like on the other end of it, what was interesting to me was that they pretty much didn't release any of their TV talent or their loop talent.
Yeah, no. They I didn't even know Dan Matha was released. Poor guy. My man got exactly 6 seconds of time on television.
He got hoed by Samoa Joe.
Easily. I've never seen an experience where someone's major grand debut was getting squashed and never seen again. So I mean, I'm sure he will find something in the future. I'm trying to see if anyone else was released that we possibly know of. I think everyone's fine. I mean, if you're looking for the post stuff, we got an interview from Kurt Hawkins' wife, who was like, "Yo, he's gonna be fine." Zack Ryder still playing with toys in his living room. Who else do we got?
Whoa! You're burying the lead. You're skipping over something, brother.
Wait! What am I skipping over? Run this back.
You're skipping over something real big here between one Matt Carmona and the Miz on Instagram.
All right.
We're not talking about that. I gotta hear what you got to say about this.
Well, all right. So here's the thing. In the moment, I'm gonna be super angry. It's very hard for me to hold grudges. I'm not someone who hold grudge. If you're trying to use this as a potential weakness in the future, I don't hold grudges. However, let me tell you something about Matt Cardona, Long Island Z. First of all, the shirt is terrible. So I don't even know what he said. I don't know what he's complaining about. The shirt is terrible. It's just words on it. We complained all about shirts on WWE.com, and trust me, The Miz has had bad shirts. The Miz had a shirt with a tiny chicken and a magnet as chick magnet, and that was his shirt. And that was a shirt from like 2007 to like 2009. Yep. So like he's had terrible shirts. Zack Ryder put out a shirt like I think it said "Still Here" or something. It don't even matter what it said at this point. The Miz just said like, "Oh, and you made fun of my shirts." And Zack Ryder, Matt Cardona, says something along the lines of like, "Yes, I knew I was getting released before this, and I put in this, and this is how independent wrestlers make money and blah blah blah." And I'm like, "Yo, Miz ain't even asked all that." Like, I thought y'all were friends. Hold on, Miz ain't even asked all that. It's not like, of course, if I'm a betting man, yes, the Miz is never working in independent scene ever in life. I mean,
no, you're never letting him go.
Yeah, no, he's just built that way. He's just, even if he is let go from WWE, he's going to do television or movies. That's just the way it is. He is connected. He lives in Los Angeles for a reason. He does all these things. He's connected. He is whatever. He's not going to be slumming it in front of YouTube with cartoon toys for whatever reason.
What is it about Miz that gets people like so pissed off? Like I didn't even see that even the people in the comments were like, that was a little bit too far. Like even the
because people really don't feel like the Miz has cut his teeth long enough, and it's weird because he has been in WWE for quite some time and he has had incredible runs. I can think of his maybe like Zack Ryder. He helped put over Zack Ryder at WrestleMania. He made Zack. I mean, yes, it was 24 hours, but listen, you got a WrestleMania moment because of the Miz. Like, slow your roll. Yeah. Like, relax. Like, you're good. You're good. He's gonna be good. I'm pretty sure he's talking to AEW or any of those other things. Or at least like there's interest. I don't say talking as if there's some deal being proposed, because that's exactly what's not going to happen right now. But I'm sure in the future, once things kind of like float over, he's going to be back. And we'll see how it goes. Maria and Mike now have a podcast.
Yeah, I didn't listen to that.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good on both of them. I mean, I hope everything goes well for them and everyone else. But I'm good on any type of expose podcast shit. Like I think everyone. I'm hoping this year is the year where that type of shit just becomes so blasé. Like we know already. We know it's shitty.
It just takes one person to really kind of call it out, because it kind of looks it's kind of corny, but no one's actually admitting it, because wrestlers need money and publicity and things like that, and they know how to, and they know that the people who listen, like, you know, everyone who kind of reacts on the internet are going to have reactions about this, and people are going to want to hear.
Who's about to defend Mike Kanellis on the internet? Like, I think we're gonna get the revival stuff that's gonna come soon, which, like, whatever. Like, I was over the whole airing out the grievances shit after Ambrose, after Moxley. That was it, right? Like, that was like, okay, you know,
right.
we've heard it from every angle, from Punk, from Austin, from Undertaker. We've heard every angle of it. It's a shitty business. It's a business that nobody is about to be, pursuing professionally. The shoot interview era, we still in that?
Do you feel? How did you feel about AJ Styles' reaction to the OC's release?
It was sad.
He felt like he couldn't take care of his own brothers and couldn't manage to keep them with a job and things like that.
It was sad, but what more could he really do? Like, I know he put them in a position to get the bag, and I think that they will probably, respect that a whole lot forever. You know what I'm saying? Like, that they said they were making upwards of $700,000 a year, and like, talent wise, me and you probably look at that like, huh? But like, AJ, that just shows his pull. I think that it was very sad, but on the other end, he was saying, this is something that had to happen. It just sucks that he didn't have the time to try and reverse the situation. But everyone is going to look at that the same way they looked at Seth Rollins, just going online and saying, hey, we should all just come together and we should just, we should be looking at it from a different angle. And they call him a bootlicker. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Everyone has a different, like, but it's like, what's weird? It's like, but people hold up Sami Zayn to be like the wokest motherfucker on earth, but he's still employed there.
Yeah.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
Like, and Daniel Bryan, and he's still working.
I mean,
it's weird, right?
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. You're not wrong about that at all. I'm trying to see if there's any other names released, but I mean that's kind of I don't even want to say the release report, but hey, but it's a crappy business. There was some news. There was some actual positive news that people want to hear about hirings, potential hirings. One release, Sarah Logan was rumored to be returning, despite being released earlier in the week. Ryan Satin actually confirmed that the person that was potentially might be brought back real sooner than later was indeed Sarah Logan. And he says on Twitter, he says the person was Sarah Logan. Not sure if word getting out caused them to hold off for tonight, meaning Raw, or if they wanted to sell Baszler's injury for another week. As most notes, though, she was mentioned on Raw this evening more than she's ever been mentioned on one night.
Yep, I noticed it too.
So, yeah, I mean, I didn't read this before watching Raw, so I was just like, they're mentioning Sarah Logan a lot for someone who's really like they can't even mention Roman right now, but they mentioned Sarah Logan like 8 times, like But
there's some money down the line with that Riot Squad thing, and I do think that I read that they all have like 90-day compete clauses or something like that, or they're still getting paid for 90 days. So like because like Drake Maverick was just announced to be on the bump tomorrow, so he's gonna be on the bump tomorrow. So I think a lot of them are still working. You know what?
You know what's crazy? I think for Sarah Logan, this kind of gives her career a jolt. In terms of a sympathetic route, and maybe people can kind of sympathize, and it's similar to the same thing as maybe Daniel Bryan when Daniel Bryan was released as part of the Nexus. I don't want to say to that magnitude, because Daniel Bryan is an independent darling, and Sarah Logan, it's just someone continuing to still build her name, but at least it gives people a sense of like, yes, finally, we both talked about it last week, in that she's someone who is improving. It seemed like she was improving from week to week, and it's a shame that she was released. But if she's managed to be brought back sooner than later, I mean, there's an angle waiting for her, judging by everything on Monday Night Raw. And, we could be seeing Sarah Logan much sooner than later. So, you know what? If she's back, great for her. Her husband's still in WWE. I thought it was weird that she was fired and he was let go. But then again, Lana's still there and Rusev isn't. So who knows? But, I'll just say, shout out to Sarah Logan. If she is going to be back, we'll see her very soon.
Yeah. And again, like she was making attempts to change and be better. So I hope she does get a second chance. And in fact, I hope everyone gets a second chance somewhere, wherever they go. Did you see the Revival, their new name, the Revolt, Free the Revolt?
Yeah, I saw the Fear the Revolt thing. They seem like they've had this we've seen trademarks, we've seen other stuff. They've been cooking this for a while. They've known that they are not coming back.
This looks like some TNA ass shit to me.
I wouldn't be shocked if they ended up in Impact, but I would highly doubt it. But I'm glad that they're doing their thing, and I can only hope after pretty much years of feeling like not getting their just due, that now that they fully have their own career in their hands, that they can experience the success that they actually want, because now it's kind of on their terms as opposed to WWE terms. It's one thing when WWE makes you a star, and if they make you a star, you're kind of a star forever.
They were stars.
Yeah, yes. To an extent, they're like Star Jays.
They won tag team championships on every show that they were on.
Yeah, but they're like Star Jays. Like those tag team titles were like, there wasn't besides the NXT run, I don't think there was a kind of momentous run. So I'm not even going to give them the fact that they were like burgeoning stars. They were like outside of the orbit of the Uso New Day type of deal.
They'll never be them. Let's be clear. They'll never be them.
I mean, if you'd give them 6 more years, maybe, but probably not, right? But and then they dropped these leaked things of someone drew them dressed up as clowns or pirates or whatever the fuck that was. Of like, here, WWE try to make them look like fools. Here's the gimmick that they were supposed to have.
Lipstick on them.
Yeah, they're dressed up as like jokers and like knights or whatever the hell it is. And I'm just like, okay, guys, like we're not, I forgot El Matadoring them. Like, relax. But they're gone. Fear the Revolt. We shall see where all of this comes in the future. I'm sure it won't happen right now, but it'll come in the future.
Now, did you catch Dark Side of the Ring last week? This has become like our new segment, is Dark Side of the Ring.
Yes. Yeah, I caught it last week. I love live tweeting it. I love the chaos surrounding this. Yeah, I mean,
bad week for Vince.
What did you think? What did you think about it?
I think I did read that big expose / article that people have been passing around. I did read that a couple years ago. So a lot of this wasn't really new information, just having talking heads behind it, and a lot of times. I thought it was, again, it's a tragic story, absolutely terrible. I think it's wild that no one has taken any type of stance, whether it be within that company, out of the company, anywhere he's ever worked. Like, Snuka was a wild boy, and I'm not even saying his gimmick. Like, he was a wild dude, and I just hope that like they're able to find, like, the victim's family is able to find peace, and they obviously couldn't get it because of his passing and everything, but
I think the entire, just watching the details of it, I hadn't known the details as close as possible. I think just in general, I'm trying to figure out, like, is this, people are going to say it's roid rage, obviously. I think, God, man, I don't even know. I can't even say. Jimmy Snuka, to me, this was wild. I was never a huge fan, but he was also like way before me.
Before.
He is way too strong to be doing any of the shit that he was doing. This man, and showing up to a funeral in flip-flops with the toes out. Nah, you're bugging, sir. Jimmy Snuka, all the details surrounding it, of him lying, kind of, or we can say it was a alleged lie. We'll never know the actual truth, but we're pretty sure it's a lie. Of her, like, oh, she fell and hit her head on sidewalk. Don't quote me on that. Don't quote my caveman. But yeah, like, I just hope, once again, I hope the family gets as much, solace and kind of as much closure as you can possibly get from this situation, and at least people knowing the whole thing of Vince McMahon kind of like paying off, like kind of like it's inferred that he like paid off the police to like kind of like keep this under wraps so he can keep his own main star, and how kind of wrestlers were like Don Morocco was saying like, yo, our angle was hot. I wasn't even trying to be like, I wasn't even trying to have to deal with this right now, and so many different things. I mean, there's so many different things at one period of time or another that probably could have collapsed professional wrestling. I think this was a major bullet that Vince McMahon dodged in general.
Yeah, hell yeah. Because I mean, you look at stuff like OJ and how that really just shut stuff down. And this is, to me, on a level that's similar, if not above. I mean, obviously Snuka is not OJ Simpson, but it's still a huge industry.
I mean, he could have been. It didn't really get that far, right? Like, he could have.
True.
I mean, he could have been. Like, who's to say that he wouldn't have trying to be? This man was fighting police officers. He's fighting police dogs. So who's who's to say that he couldn't become OJ Simpson or anything like that? But I'm glad that at least someone, and this is kind of like the strengths of journalism, someone decided to go back, rediscover this case, see that a lot of things didn't add up, kind of wanted to follow it. By that time, it was kind of the end of Snuka's life. Pretty much life. He was waiting 3 days after, I think it was like a couple days after the verdict, he passed away or something along those lines.
Yeah.
So it was sad. First of all, and something I just want to add, I don't support people harassing Tamina Snuka about this. I don't think she deserves this. I don't think she's done anything particularly wrong. I think I'm sure she's just as distraught about this entire situation and conflicted and stuff. I personally don't want to hear her thoughts because I don't want it to sort of.
And that's her dad. Like,
yeah,
let her feel about her dad what she wants to feel about her dad, and
right? Because she's gonna have an experience. Yeah, she's gonna 100% have an experience. Like the thing, even with we talked about it a few weeks ago, the whole Chris Benoit thing and his son Daniel. He has all the great memories in the world with his dad. I'm gonna let him feel how he feels, although his dad was fucking terrible shit, and same with Snuka. But it's like, I don't support people going out their way and harassing these people on a daily basis for pretty much the sins of their own fathers. It's a shitty situation as a child. I just have to kind of, I can only imagine the shitty situation that she's probably in. And it's kind of weird, the timing, considering she's got a women's title shot and all this other stuff like that.
Coincidental.
Yeah. That's all I got to say.
Did you peep the filming schedule for Raw, SmackDown, and NXT? They're going to have more pre-tape shows. I
did. It's a great, a lot of people, and we've talked about it over the last couple of weeks, a lot of people talking about how it's unsafe and WWE's forcing people to do all these things and ABCD. And as more time comes out, you're seeing WWE is continuing to beef up the security measures, making sure everyone's safe as they walk in the building, social distancing. There's even an interview with The Big Show with Fox News saying kind of like WWE's making these talents feel actually safe while they're doing all these things. So, I think it's a situation that, it's good. It's good. I think, honestly, and I'll say this honestly, if your favorite sport could do this, they would have.
Nope. Absolutely. I think you said it, and I think you said it on Twitter also. Like, if the NBA really wants to come back, they should try and use this model. And again, your mileage may vary, your opinion may change depending on what side of the fence you're on. I hate that we even have to use this disclaimer because of just how incendiary this conversation has gotten amongst wrestling Twitter, so to speak. But
yes.
and when you look at it, okay, this week everything is live for this week, as scheduled.
Right.
But on Saturday they're going to film 2 episodes of SmackDown for May 1st and May 8th. Then Monday, 2 episodes of Raw will be taped, one for the night, and then for the May 4th, April 29th, 2 episodes of NXT will be taped. That's one for the night and one for May 6th. So you're giving talent 2 weeks of a rotator, and plus Money in the Bank is literally that next week. So they're going to shoot the go home for Money in the Bank next week, essentially. So again, I think it's a great idea. I'm hoping that this is the safer option. I'm wondering what the communication breakdown was between Vince and the network, where they were telling him live last week, and now they're saying, okay, it's cool for you to do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. But who knows? This looks good. They have it planned all the way to July 1st. So
yeah, I mean, yeah. There's no major events in any city, no major gatherings, at least. I mean, in New York City, they just banned it for June. They were just like, no major events for June. WWE had a major house show in MSG planned for June. That's obviously not going to go on. So we don't know how long this is going to actually take, but this is the schedule moving forward. And I'm sure they had to come to some sort of agreement with USA Network and Fox about it because of the live airings and not live airings. And they're contracted to do a certain amount of live airings and a certain amount of taped airings. But this is kind of the world that we live in. It just, it is what it is. I'm in support of it. I have no choice to be in support of it right now. I want to know, have you, I'm trying to figure out where I want to go with this. Do I want to go with the funny stuff? I mean, they're both pretty funny. The stuff that's relevant or stuff that's, you know what? Let's talk about this. Let's talk about outside of WWE kind of news, and then we'll circle back, and then we'll head back to the shows this week. Have you heard that The Rock and Issa Rae are joining forces for an HBO scripted series about backyard wrestling?
Yes.
Have you heard this?
Yes. I've had many conversations.
I'm trying to imagine the conversation between The Rock and Issa Rae. It's like, no, yeah, like totally, like,
I think this comes from Issa's production company looking for any type of content right now. Mm-hmm. And The Rock and his $7, they're crushing it right now. They're really crushing it.
Danny Garcia and they just killing it.
So, but you also look, they're the two kind of head honchos at HBO right now. Besides, a lot of the other showrunners, the HBO family, they've lost the guys who did Game of Thrones, so they're kind of on their own, and they're looking for new, more creative talents to shepherd their shows into the next couple of years. So it makes sense why they would get Issa on board with it, because I think there's an element there where there could be a lot of African American representation on the show. But it also makes sense that The Rock is on it because he's the name they wanted to keep ever since Ballers ended last year.
Yeah, pretty much. So in terms of what the show is about, it says Cassius Jones, a young dock worker and struggling pro wrestler who uses inherited life insurance money for a startup cash used life insurance money? Damn. For startup cash and the deed to a shotgun house from his grandfather to start a hip-hop centric backyard wrestling empire in Houston's third ward, the Tray, with the help of his working class family, neighbors, and friends. So I don't know. I'm picturing like Atlanta, but with wrestling. Like
hard to say. It's really hard to say. Even the time period is hard to say. I do think that it's uncharted territory for HBO to even go that way. As far as like even the Atlanta
wrestling and hip hop, and it's like trying to bring them together, and then also like Issa Rae and The Rock, and like.
Let's be clear. The names don't matter. Let's be clear, because in the end,
all right.
No, it's serious. Because in the end, it goes down to the showrunners. They're not the showrunners. They're just producing and funding and financing the show. So whoever is going to be running the show, that's what it's going to look like. So it's essentially that because there's a movie. What's the movie called? It's called Mixed or something. It's about this dude who wants to become a wine taster or whatever. I forgot his name. It's on Netflix. But Drew Brees and a lot of other NFL dudes, they produced it. But it has nothing to do with football. It's about like wine tasting. What's it called? Hold on. Wine tasting. I'm looking it up right now. It's a really good movie too. You should check it out. It's called Uncorked. Okay. It's called Uncorked. It's on Netflix.
Uncorked. All right.
It's about a dude who wants to become a professional wine taster. But again, those names are just the people that they're just putting it together. But it's the blackest. It's like in Memphis, and it's like the blackest movie ever. But like Drew Brees is one of the guys behind it. So I think it depends on what talent they get. I'm very interested in it, but I'm also very interested in Starz' show Heels, which is coming soon as well, and how those two shows will exist.
Okay, little power versus empire type of magic. We got the whole Saturday Night Wars Showtime. I mean, I'm trying to not pay for much of anything lately. We will see. We'll see how things go, and we'll see how all this goes. This is a very interesting sort of aspect. I love more wrestling content. We just talked about Dark Side of the Ring, which is outside of WWE. We're talking about, now we're talking about the show, which is going to be called, hold on, I think it's Trey Count, but like there's no O and U, so it kind of looks like cunt. It's kind of weird. But Trey Count is the name of the title tentatively, and we got a whole bunch of wrestling content kind of coming, so that's pretty special.
I wonder if Chavo will do We'll do consultation for both shows. That'll be interesting.
I think they need someone like that, definitely. Someone who can be closer to it, because there's no way The Rock is no way The Rock is going to be on set. I mean, he can provide some sort of aspect to it, but there's no way that I think he's going to be there to very
But I do think, don't you think there's an element that he might actually go to the PC and grab some people there to do this show? Because I don't think his visit, remember that really cool video they did? Yeah, I think that might have something to do with what he was planning on doing.
What? Oh my God. Do you think what's her face?
Simone?
God. Yes, Simone. Simone could possibly,
could be
as well. I mean, you never know. I'm trying to think of who else could possibly be in this entire thing.
Could be Indy Hartwell. Could be Sasha. Could show up. Like people could actually realistically show up because the relationship with Rock and WWE and even AEW is so tight. You could be seeing a lot of these people together in the show because there's nothing stopping these people from acting together. They just can't do actual matches together. So,
listen, Chelsea Green wants her close up. She wants her close up. She wants to be in this. She's like, no, I can be from Houston. Totally. Absolutely.
She won a lot of things. Let's continue.
Let us, what we can do? We can talk about, because the next news point is related to the shows. So we can kind of segue into talking about the shows this week. But WWE kind of made a major announcement in regards to the Money in the Bank match this week, which I thought was hilarious.
Yes. It was reported by a lot of places late last week. They had been actually recording ladder matches at the WWE headquarters in Stamford, Connecticut. There were I don't know how these people got these pictures from above on the roof of the set, but we saw that on Thursday, and not too long after that on Friday Night SmackDown, it was announced that Money in the Bank would take place with all of the participants climbing the corporate ladder at WWE Stamford, Connecticut offices when that show airs on pay-per-view. So again, WWE trying to do different things to make sure people tune into these pay-per-views and make them an experience. This being them actually having another and this would be interesting too. It's going to be a pre-recorded, pre-booked, pre-taped Money in the Bank, which I don't think we've seen ever.
No.
But it will have the participants starting from the bottom floor of WWE Tower all the way to the top to get the briefcase. This is going to be crazy.
This is going to be so funny, and it's going to be so interesting. I heard that they're moving from the Titan Towers in general. I heard that they're going to get a new building anyway.
Yeah.
And
it's a nice write-off.
Yeah. So it's, might as well, fuck it up before you leave. But I haven't seen. I mean, have you been in Titan Towers? I certainly have never been in Titan Towers.
As much as people would love to say something to the contrary, no, I've never been.
Oh my God, he wants to be there so much. But to have to work their way from the ground floor and kind of all the shenanigans to reach the top, this is kind of this involves this melds the world of the challenge and the wrestling.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of it that way. Now I see why you're into it.
This is so funny, just in terms of like, will someone try to take the elevator and try to do a shortcut and try to thing? Will they be trying to take the stairs? Will, whose office will they run into? Will Vince McMahon be there? Will anybody who is non-essential or essential be there? Like, so many different things. They could go so many different routes. These, once again, like we said, the pre-tape situations make this for a very, very, very interesting match. So, I'm here for it. That's all I can say.
Yeah, I'm definitely here for it. It was something where I can't just be in an empty arena, right? But now you see, okay, they're trying to make this something, and I really dig. I dig it. I can't wait to see it, and I really hope that we get some really cool matchups out of this. We had a lot of the slots being filled up for this week on SmackDown. What do you think about the show overall? I thought it was pretty enjoyable. I thought I had a pretty good time watching it.
Dana Brooke.
Come on. Everyone gets their turn.
First of all, Dana Brooke has a turn. She is trying to contend for the tag team titles. She's trying to do too much. You know what? That's what I'm thinking about Dana Brooke right now. Like, slow your roll. Walk before you run, girl. You try to have tag team title matches. You out here in Money in the Bank matches. You out here trying to do your things. You know what? If this is Dana Brooke trying to do her best, by all means, but, to have Dana Brooke in the match means there's a possibility that she could win this, which is something that you could do, right? Like, in a situation, it's like you could have Dana Brooke win and not do anything with her for a certain amount of time, and then suddenly she's the most important person on the roster. So,
well, the story is, I guess it's a thing. We've never seen the story of someone trying to do both. And there's a possibility that she could try and get the tag titles and try and get the briefcase on the same night. So, Again, I think there's something sound there, whereas if they wanted an out and to have someone like, say, a Sasha join the match because Dana couldn't, there's something you could do there. And I think, I want to see it play out first. I'm not a huge fan of the direction or who she beat to do it, but I'm not going to shit on it before I see what they end up with.
This is true. It is just, It is just Dana Brooke. It's just something I can't escape via Dana Brooke. But also in the Money in Bank, sorry, I don't want to. I mean, cut you off, but there's another. I want to stay on the whole Money in the Bank thing, because it concludes to this Friday on SmackDown in terms of what we'll see. But there was a very interesting announcement made by Michael Cole as he's trying to promo Triple H's 25th anniversary. That seemed to have no. I was like, wait, why would he say this?
No bearing on anything, right?
Yeah. I was like, wait, why would he say this? This has no bearing on the match at all. He was like, Triple H has been around 25 years and has never competed in a Money in the Bank match. And I was like, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. They put a post up a day ago of Triple H where it says 2-time Royal Rumble match winner, 14-time world champion, Hall of Fame inductee, King of the Ring, Grand Slam champion, on their Instagram account to further this theory that I know you have and I have as well, that what happens on Friday at the
Triple H 25th anniversary
is that he's going to be saying that he is going to enter the Money in the Bank match, which is what I think you're getting at, right?
Yes, because it kind of makes sense, the whole corporate ladder type of thing, that he's there and all this other stuff like that. And I'm just like, the possibilities. Triple H contending with his kids, first of all, shout out to him. And just the whole corporate ladder thing. I mean, it makes for a very interesting SmackDown this week is all that I can say. Whew, Lord.
Yeah. I'm for it. I'm here for it. Do something. Do something.
Yeah.
Do something to make people watch.
Yeah, it's one of those, like, I wouldn't do anything. I don't want you guys to do anything I wouldn't do myself. So Triple H, get out there. You're wrestling now. It's like, what?
It'll definitely be interesting to me. If that is what ends up happening on Friday on SmackDown, but because if you look at the men's side of it, a lot of the men are taken up in other programs, and you can't just put Nakamura, Sammy, and Bryan and Gulak all in the same thing. Now, Gulak does have a Money in the Bank qualifier match next week, but this week, Bryan actually qualified against Cesaro in a really great match on SmackDown.
It was fantastic. I mean, just I'm getting more used to these no crowd shows. So like having
when they get the crowd back, I'm gonna be like, what the hell? Like, please go back.
I'm gonna be super happy. But it's kind of normalizing for me now, and just not having the crowd, and kind of like after a couple of weeks. I mean, WrestleMania was weird as shit, and it still won't be not weird. But as we continue to get through these weekly shows, I'm kind of like normalizing to it, and it's kind of fine. And the fact that things are actually happening, and it's not like, well, let's play this WrestleMania match from from 2 years ago. But things are.
And I think commentary, especially on SmackDown, is doing a really great job of covering up those silent spots. And I think Corey and Michael do a lot better than the team on Raw, which I think that they're like. Lawler completely ruins that show to me, but like I think that what they do is they do little fun stuff, like character stuff between Michael and Corey outside the ring and inside the ring that really makes it so I don't notice.
Sheamus came up and pressed Michael Cole, crazy. as if Michael Cole is the one playing all these Jeff Hardy return clips. Like, goddamn. Like, but yeah, no, you're right. You're 100% right. They do a lot of interesting kind of new, fresh things. And yes, Jerry Lawler 100% drags Raw down. What else you got from Friday Night SmackDown? What else did you like? I mean, there's a lot that happened.
Yeah, there actually is a lot that happened. I think we're actually burying this a lot more than we needed to. How did you feel about the Sonya Deville, Mandy Rose segment from SmackDown that everyone's talking about? Of course, we got a face-to-face conversation with those two, with Sonya really saying how she felt and saying that she felt as though Mandy was nothing more than a centerfold bitch.
Two things. One, they've come a long way from that segment, and I think you remember the segment where they said they were going for the tag titles.
Yep.
And it's like, but what about the tag titles next week? And then they never got a shot after that. So they've come a long way since that. And then second, I'm in support of it. I thought it was amazing. I hope there's usually, I don't know if it's the WWE's fault of their own or they're even conditioned to this. Tag team breakups tend to go a certain way.
Yeah.
Especially with Sonya and Mandy and stuff like that. Everyone's like, oh, we want to support Mandy and do the thing. But then Sonya becomes like the redheaded stepchild and never really ascends to anything of any status. But she's really been killing it. They've managed to prolong this feud, this entire program that's been going on since January. So, or even earlier than that, maybe.
Longer than that.
Oh, yeah, Christmas ham, of course. So it's been going on since last year. So the fact that they've managed to prolong this as much as they can, and we're probably going to get a mixed tag for Money in the Bank, to me is incredible. Like this segment was just top notch. It just was.
Yeah, it really was. And I mean, you've probably seen it already, but I stress that anyone who hasn't caught it yet, go check out this segment between them. I think Otis, once again, coming out to me, portraying the character work that's needed that I think that they just weren't getting to in NXT. And I think that there's certain acts that they're not able to really show what they're all about because they're in such a work rate, gotta be serious athletic guy territory in NXT. Whereas like on these types of shows, this is where it matters, right? And NXT doesn't really prepare you for that. And I think that's why Otis is really thriving more than a lot of people. Like you look at an Apollo Crews or Ricochet, it's like they didn't get that. And this is why Otis is resonating and they're not.
Yeah, it's interesting to see where this goes. I'm interested in how they kind of move forward with Sonya and Mandy from here, and how they move over with Otis and all this other things like that. So, we'll see how this goes. It's been going great so far. I can't wait to see what happens next week.
Oh my God, there's so much more that happened on this show. We got the confirmation. We got the confirmation of Braun Strowman and Bray Wyatt, not the Fiend, for Money in the Bank.
Ooh, didn't even notice that. Not the Fiend.
Not the Fiend, not yet. So
whack. How whack? Yeah.
You know how that's gonna end.
Tamina beats the brakes off Sasha Banks. And that is a thing that's going to lead to Tamina versus Bayley at Money in the Bank, one would have to think.
Yeah, Bayley, listen, man.
Bayley gonna do the work. She gonna do the work.
Female wrestler of the year, bro. Because there's no one.
How many stars would she have to pull out of Tamina for you to be like, she might be the GOAT?
One.
Yo, we are awful. Oh my god.
One and a half. If I can get above a dud, this shit.
I'm just like, God, I'm just imagining your ratings as just like half a star, like,
bro,
like half a star, like she missed a belly to Bailey or something along those lines.
There is no one on this roster that has to deal with as many bumps on the wall. Because I mean, say what you want to say about Shayna Baszler, she is at least competent in there. Bailey has had to have matches with people that are greener than grass shit.
Bailey is wrestling the blind, or practically, is wrestling like the wrestling blind. And that's no offense to blind people who may be listening to the show, but she has to work
10 times
multiple
harder.
times. Oh, than Becky, who doesn't work at all? Yes.
like, and let's be clear, like, you want her to lose it, but like she's gonna lose it to Sasha. But then Sasha gonna have to face these same people. It's like they're gonna be going against each other for a while, so we better get used to that, because that's all they have on that show.
100%.
Shout out to Bailey though. I mean, almost nearly a year, holding that title. Her best run to me, of all of her runs right now. I think the heel turn, she's finally come into it. She's finally become what she's supposed to become. And I think a strong heel turn makes it even better for when she, eventually turns back and she returns back to the hugger. I hope never, but one day.
Yeah. No, it's great for her, just at least character development as a person. So I think it's going to be great for her just in general. I have to say, it's just let me, The Miz.
Okay. Oh God.
The Miz did, I think, in these trying times, and I think these times that no one kind of truly expected, this kind of crisis, and bringing kind of entertainment and kind of this pulse to the tag team division. Unfortunately, there are just periods and times like, listen, you got to make these guys look good. You have to continue kind of your own career and everybody else's career. And, some people need a rub, some people don't need a rub. But, this week we saw the end of the Miz's tag team title run.
Let's be clear. What exactly did that do for them?
A great Big E promo.
Yeah, like what? I mean, not even getting it back.
Oh, you're not even talking about New Day, or are you talking about Miz and Morrison?
I'm talking about Miz and Morrison. What did that reign do for them?
It solidified them. So here's the thing: it solidified them as an actual team. This is a tag team that people have not seen for a decade, and they've only kind of like, you might have missed it because the Miz has had so much overwhelming success since then that it kind of eclipsed whatever the hell that was in like a decade, maybe close to a decade and a half ago. So it was kind of like and then the thing with the Miz is like, you can always put the title on the Miz, and Miz is going to make sure your championship gets defended and gets airtime and all this stuff like that. So I didn't personally mind it. I think they did what they were supposed to do with that tag team title. Now, I have no idea what's going to go on now. I mean, don't ask me.
Yeah, there ain't nothing. Let's be clear.
I mean,
there is nothing.
Forgotten Sons right over there, I guess. I mean,
well, I would imagine you get Nakamura and Cesaro in on it now, right?
Yeah, I would think so too.
Just to
they should have the titles.
Yeah, just to have that core of Sammy and those two meaning something. If you're going to have, a stable on there that, without all of your talent on every show, you could have those three guys at least being the workhorses there. So, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. Let's go to Raw, which I thought was a show that was strong on matches. Let's be clear, but as far as everything else, not too strong ones. Especially storyline. I feel like Raw is kind of had a misstep this week, so to speak.
Yeah, I was half in, half out. I mean, I think Babyface and Teddy Riley was on. I was kind of like half watching that, half not watching Raw.
Yeah.
But I would say you probably hit it right on the nose. Like, it would seem kind of be like a misstep in terms of progression. Now, if you're talking about for women, it was a great show for women. Women had 4 matches on this card.
Mm-hmm.
Like I've never seen as many. Wait, 1, 2, 3,
I think it's 5.
4, 5.
Yeah,
wow.
It's 5 matches.
5 women's matches on the show. So, I mean, goddamn.
They showed up. Essential. #essential. It's the essential era, baby. Let's get right down to brass tacks from the top. We had our Money in the Bank qualifiers. Aleister Black does, get into the match. Of course, I don't think that there was any question. But we also had Apollo Crews and MVP. With Apollo, they're slowly rebuilding him into something. He's made it into the match, and I thought the MVP did a pretty good job. I thought he was the best showing of MVP in a while on this show, because he was not good on the Rey Mysterio match.
Not even just a while, just not even on the show, just like in a while.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I think Apollo Crews. All I'm asking is, if you're gonna do something with Apollo Crews, do something with Apollo Crews.
Right.
Don't just give him a string of wins, have him be in this match, and then it's like, oh, now we got bigger fish to fry. If you're gonna do something with Apollo Crews, do something with Apollo Crews. But then Apollo Crews also has to show me something as well.
Yeah, the athleticism's definitely there. I don't think that's ever been a question. Having him get meaningful wins and have a character, and I think he's in the same. And Heyman and the team, they have their work cut out for all of them, because you have they have all three athletic black guys on one roster now. So they have Cruz, Cedric, and Ricochet, and they have to do something with all three of these guys. And I think they all suffer from the same issue, is that they are personality devoid. And I think you could give Apollo the biggest wins ever. You could give him wins against Andrade. They did the same thing with Ricochet last year. And in the end, if he couldn't talk, it didn't matter, because no one was resonating with him. So I absolutely agree with you there. But I want to see what he does in the Money in the Bank. I wish it was Ricochet, but he seems to have something going with the tag titles. I think we got a really hot triple threat tag title match in the near future between that team, Street Profits, and the Vikings. How did you feel about this Viking Raiders thing that they did one time and never went back to?
I'm a dude, and we're dudes, and we're dudes in cars who are Vikings, man. Like,
dry ass turkey leg.
I was just like, oh, this is what we're doing. To be honest with you, I don't know how long the Viking thing was gonna last. To be honest with you, I mean, the Viking thing is a cool visual, but I'm pretty sure they're asking themselves, like, but who's really buying into Vikings in 2020?
And that's my dilemma with this, is that I knew it was goofy, but it gave them some character, and it made them look like not just Viking dudes, but like dudes that are just like, they're just bros that are just really Neanderthal type. And I was like, I didn't get it, but I was like, I kind of fuck with it, because it seemed like the most like what they were, or what they are as people, honestly.
Right. No, you're right. And I think it gives them a chance for people. To be honest with you, I don't even think people really know their names like that. So it's a situation where you can kind of add a little bit to the character. And yes, it's goofy. And yes, this was the wildest. I was looking on it and I was like, yo, what is this?
Am I watching the right
riding
show?
For three? Yeah, riding for three, or what the fuck they call it, whatever.
They were in full paint. They were in full paint, full everything. It reminded me remember the Highlanders?
Right. Yeah, true. 100%. Yeah, I remember Carlos called these guys the HEH Landers.
Wow.
But it is, it's fun. I was taken by surprise of it, but it wasn't something that I was just like, what the fuck are they? I don't think they're ruining them. No. They're still every bit of the Viking Raiders that they are. They just,
but what could ruin this goofy ass gimmick that people have already shed on for a whole year at this point, ever since they've been the Experience or the Raiders or whatever.
Yeah,
they was goofy from day one. They were goofy from day one. They're Vikings. They've always been these feudal warrior era dudes. If they want to bring them into the present, I would really like if they were more bloodthirsty, but they've done that already. So like, where else can they go? So we'll see what happens there. You want to touch on this Nia Jax Kairi Sane thing, or do you want to just leave that to social media?
I low-key want to leave it for social media because
we'll leave it alone.
Yeah, I think we should leave it alone. It's not that I'm not afraid to talk about it. It's just like, you guys are gonna say everything. Trust me.
Yeah, there's not much we could touch on that, other than I hope
that we haven't actually touched on before. To be honest with you.
I hope Kyrie's cool, and I hope she's okay. We got confirmation of Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins. I have to say, an inspired pick. more than anything for someone's first title program defense.
Yeah.
We haven't seen it before. We've seen this match, but we haven't seen
Seth Rollins versus Drew McIntyre?
No, I'm saying we haven't seen the I won't say originality, but the fact that they're going to actually go with like a work rate, like a worker match instead of like Kane. You know, like whenever you get the title, you usually get like a bullshit feud right after that. So I'm glad to see they're taking Drew serious. Have you seen people like already turning on Drew? I don't get
it. So I said this last week. It's going to be easy to turn on him because he's kind of I won't say he's too nice currently. In his current form, he's just too nice. And this was kind of the problem that he had in NXT as well. You're this big, domineering, cyborg-looking dude. That's cool enough. I think he should say less. Don't get me wrong. So here's my dilemma with it. The fact that he said more made me fall in love with him, right?
Exactly.
But the fact that now he's the champion and we kind of want this kind of credible, kind of kick-ass thing. And don't get me wrong, he's still all of that. But I think he's like, to me, his attitude is clearly someone who has never had major success before. It's clearly someone who's never been here. It's like when someone, you know, if you give, gosh, how do I want to say this without being problematic? Let's say you give an extremely ugly person a compliment and they can't stop thanking you.
This is what you're getting from Drew McIntyre. I'm just being clear. This is what you're getting from him right now.
That's what I'm saying. It's like, to me, he's just like, he's incredibly grateful. He's incredibly playful. He's incredibly all these other things. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like we want him with the chip on his shoulder. What we fell in love with was the chip on his shoulder. Don't lose that because you got the title. Don't think everything's all hunky dory and you need to, wink at the camera and, slide around on the stage and all this other stuff like that. Like, don't get too complacent too quick. You just got here. Like, continue. It's the reason why Becky never kind of fell off. She changed in a sense. The hunger wasn't there, but at the essence, she's still the same character. She would have cussed you out whether you were the challenger or the champion. She didn't really care.
Let's be clear. I popped for Drew from the moment Raw came on when he said, "What's up, all you cool cats and kittens?" And I was like, "All right, I love Drew. He's dope. I think he's a dope champion." Yeah, you didn't hear him say that?
I did hear him say that, but then I also was like, "They gonna call you pussy. Watch."
Oh God. Moving on. Rey Mysterio defeats Murphy to enter into the Money in the Bank. Even though they made Murphy look good and lost,
I thought Murphy was going to win.
I thought Murphy should have won this match, man. But
I never thought he was going to win.
You need names. I'm glad they clarified that Murphy is still in Seth's stable because it was iffy, but I'm glad that they exquisitely said that he's still there. So okay, there's no question about that. There is continuity there. I think it's just the fact that Seth is probably going to be on like 2 weeks and then off 2 weeks, which is safe. He's one of your biggest guys. You gotta be careful with him. Andrade Tozawa was really good. I thought Bianca looked spectacular. Hey man,
let me say something about this match a little bit. Santana Garrett been getting her ass kicked since the network debuted. Santana Garrett been eating pins since 2014. Like, she hasn't had contracts, but she's been eating these pins. You got to figure out your life. Like, baby girl, come on. We got to figure something out. There's no way you enhancement talent for that long. Like, you just making debuts of people look extra crisp for that long. Bianca Belair looked great. It was great to hear the Street Profits kind of shut up Lawler for quite some time.
I think I love the faith that Heyman and that team has in those two. I really enjoy it, and then allowing Bianca to be there and further have their screen time. Like, with Bianca there, that only raises their screen time. Like, because they're going to be with her all the time. So again, they're building up Bianca. I think you save Bianca for as long as possible.
Yeah.
I'm glad you don't have her in the Money in the Bank. I thought it was a good idea.
She gives them kind of a cool factor in a sense.
Yeah.
Because she is just one of a kind, and she's legit. And where the Street Profits maybe fall a little bit short in the whole like legit category. And not to say that they aren't, strong in what they do, but obviously their personalities and charisma overpower anything in the ring or on, all this other stuff like that. But she adds a little bit of a cool factor. She adds a little bit of an X factor. She adds a little bit of a legit factor. Like this combination just works.
Yeah, and I think that's well. You had Angel Garza. Let's be clear, Zelina Vega. A lot of her on the show. I think the most Zelina Vega that I've ever heard or seen, ever on a main roster show. Not complaining about it. I thought she did really good on commentary all times. But I think that stable. I think you got to kind of give them something back next week if you're gonna have them all get beat up by Drew in one night.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. I think this gotta lead to something. And Andrade is the U.S. champion, so he's kind of chilling for right now. I think the other two guys are kind of chilling for right now and just kind of improving and kind of having status. I believe this was Angel Garza's first Raw main event, so shout out to him. Just for being put in that position, because literally 3 months ago he was Cruiserweight champion, and we were just like, okay, I mean, this is gonna work.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's kind of like made it to this position is kind of a testament to how good he is. But yeah, I think you got to give him something. Yeah,
they have to defeat someone. They have to like stop having them face Drew McIntyre at this point. But then again, it's like you got Seth on the end for Drew, but it's like this can only go but so far with Drew before it does kind of have diminishing returns. But that's why I'm kind of glad they're not in arenas, because I think fans would probably turn on this a lot quicker, especially when they're beating people that the fans want to see in Andrade and Angel Garza. But you got to kind of give that stable someone to go against, whether it be Ricochet, Seti, or Profits or somebody.
Yeah, no, you're right.
That is, I believe that's everything.
Yeah,
I think it's everything for this week. What a show!
Yeah, but I think we filled up this time amazingly for not a lot happening, but still like a lot happening. But yes, yeah. To be honest with you, what I want to say, as well as we're closing out the show, make sure you listen to everything on RNC Radio Network this week. We got a lot of stuff coming out. We had RSPN Uncensored. The RSPN boys have officially returned, and they're talking about the Michael Jordan documentary for the next couple of weeks. So make sure you tune into that. You want to follow RSPN, has their own feed. Just type it in iTunes, RSPN RNT. You'll find it on Spotify, all the type of stuff like that. Better Call Saul. You're still here? You're still alive?
Yeah.
How many more weeks?
He's still here. Well, the season finale was yesterday. And myself and Pat will be going in to record the season finale of Recalling Saul this week. It's going to be a bigger episode. We're going to be reviewing the season and the tremendous season finale from Monday, and we're going to talk about what's to come and when we can expect to see the show again, because we're living in the time of COVID, but I actually think that we might have a brighter outcome on what's going to happen to Better Call Saul. So tune into that on Thursday.
Yeah, and once again, after this show, you'll be heading straight into the return of Chatting with Nelson. Season 3 is here. He's got a lot of new guests. He's got a lot of new conversations. This is something that you guys can listen to pass the time at home, of course, so you could do with all of our podcasts. So Chatting with Nelson, once again, returning. On my side of the coin, I have Mount Silver Mondays, where we're talking about every kind of gym in Kanto move coming up. We've got actually the next episode features you, Justin. So the next episode will feature Justin. So you get some A show representation on Mount Silver next week. So make sure you follow the lookout on RNC Radio, on iTunes, Spotify, and everything like that. If you want to hear Justin and I talk about Pokemon. And then we have It's a Challenge Friday. It's a Challenge with myself and Maggie. We're talking about the challenge every week. Having a blast doing it. So make sure you tune into that. And of course, we could not forget the War Report. MJ, Cyrus, they are going through everything that's been going on over the last number of weeks. I mean, what's going to go on this week between the AEW world and the NXT world? I believe there's a big match on Wednesday, right?
Is there?
Isn't there an NXT title match? When is that title match?
What title match?
Velveteen and what's his face?
That is not. Yeah, that's not. No,
that's not happening no more.
This was never announced.
What?
It's Velveteen and Finn this week.
Jesus Christ!
Watch the product, brother. Watch the product, brother.
Well, listen, I watched the product last week, but I thought we were heading towards the title match eventually. I didn't watch the product.
I think you get it. I think you get it after this.
Finn versus Velveteen. Wonder what they got to say about that. And you can also listen to last week's show, whatever they had to say about Dean Ambrose versus Jack Swagger, and figure out if you wanted to listen to that. So you know what? They've got a lot of stuff coming. So make sure you continue to subscribe to the A Show on RNC Radio Network for the War Report. And yeah, I mean, we'll be back next week, guys. I don't have an outro. I didn't think of one. Rusev,
we're still reeling from last week.
I'm still reeling from Rusev, so I don't have a new one yet. It might take me some time. It is a very deep connection. So until then, I guess we'll see you next week, guys. Take care.